Well, good morning, everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here in a whole room of people talking about my favourite subject for the day, biodiversity. And I've got the pleasure of introducing the Biodiversity Guys to you all this morning. So just got a short amount of time, there'll be some questions afterwards as well. So just to give you a bit of an overview about what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to tell you a bit about me, why am I here, why am I talking to you, talk about the story of the guide and how it's all kind of worked over the years, and the purpose, what it's there for you for, a bit about its structure and content, so you'll know what kind of information is there, so you'll be able to know what will be useful for you so that you can quickly go and use it after the conference today. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about NetSustain, which is my company, and just let you know a little bit about how I could help you on your biodiversity journey, and then just introduce my workshop to you, which will be later on today. So, about me, I started off life at the University of Hertfordshire, studied there undergraduate environmental studies and ecology, specialising in ecology, and also at postgraduate level. And then I worked there for about 6 years as their environmental manager, and it was there that I started doing a lot of work at the campus on biodiversity. The University of Hertfordshire is lucky to have woodlands, grasslands, and a lot of open space, so I was given free rein to really improve the campus for biodiversity. And you know, although I loved all of my job, it was always the part of my job that I really did love the most, to be outside and working with nature and wildlife and seeing the improvements that were made over the years. From there, I started working with the EAUC, so I was taken, worked with them in 2005 to 6 to do the first version of the Biodiversity Guide. So I was one of a team of 4 that worked on it then. I started Revise Sustainability back in 2008, and Revise is a consultancy that specialised in working with further and higher education on sustainability, and did further biodiversity projects there as well. Revise has now evolved into a software development company called Cloud Sustainability, and so I've set up a new consultancy called NetSustain to continue my consultancy work. So enough about me, and just a bit about the story of the Biodiversity Guide. So it was back in probably about 2004 to 5 when a group of people gathered together. Nicola Corrigan was part of that with me at the University of Hertfordshire, and it was really recognised at the time that biodiversity was a bit of a forgotten issue. Of course, you know, everybody has very busy work schedules. Environmental managers often had their time taken up with energy management, waste management, and those kind of issues that really had a very kind of bottom line approach with finances, and it was thought that biodiversity was a bit of a forgotten issue, even though it was so important to a whole wide range of sustainability issues. So we put in a bid to HEFCE and also the Scottish Biodiversity Action Fund, and got some funding to do the guide, which was fantastic. And so after about a year of research and bringing together the best practice in the sector, the Biodiversity Guide was published. And there was a whole range of training and awareness, and certainly I kind of was quite a big part of that, and then carried on with Revise doing training for the EAUC as well. So hopefully over the years it's become a bit of a key resource for the further and higher education sector. And there was a survey done back in 2005 and another one done recently. And the survey in 2005, it was about 20% of environmental managers said biodiversity was very important to them. And this new survey, there was about 50% that said that. So indicating there's improvements happening. Obviously this new community of practice is coming about as well, and all of you are sitting here in the room wanting to listen and learn and progress this agenda in your institutions. So I really think that the agenda has evolved massively over the last 10 years. And the project was also recognised by the United Nations Environment Programme as well, which was really great to have such recognition. It was thought of as a flagship project for biodiversity. So it was fantastic to have that. Of course, then it was updated in 2016, so now it's all online, and it's really intended now for this to be regularly updated and for this to grow and for people to have input to see where they want this resource to go in the future. So that's a bit about the Biodiversity Guide. And why have we got the Biodiversity Guide? What is it going to actually help you to do? So the overlying premise is to create, enhance and maintain biodiversity on campus. And really wanted this to be a central place where any environmental managers, students, academics, anyone that's interested in biodiversity can come and find a central resource point for information that's specific to FHE, but also on a real kind of university and college scale. Of course, when we go out managing habitats, looking at kind of the standard guidance, it may not be on the kind of scale or in the same kind of nature as maybe things are at universities and colleges. So we really wanted to make it appropriate to the sector. A lot of sector specific, excuse the typo, legislation, and really wanting to look at all the legislation that's out there and make it really specific to universities and colleges. Also having case studies brought together and signposts to further information as well. So the structure and content. So there's 3 parts to the guide. First part is mobilisation, really getting going. The second part is practical management, and the third part is the next steps and further information. So the first part, part 1, first section of that is about understanding biodiversity and its context and drivers. So it's a place where you can quickly get up to speed with all the kind of main information. What is biodiversity? What's kind of been happening nationally and internationally? What's it about? And why really should anyone do anything about it? So hopefully that's a good place to go and start, particularly if you're new to the subject, to get a good overview of what biodiversity is all about. The second part is about producing a business case for further and higher education. Of course, when we're putting forward any programmes or actions to improve biodiversity, usually there's a business case that needs to be presented to allocate time, to allocate staff and finances to what you're doing. So the business case was developed, big group of people talking about really the factors that they had to put across to win the kind of time and energy to put all these programmes into place. Making it happen, that focuses on undertaking surveys, putting together policies and strategies so that you can actually have a really informed approach to go out and do your work. So there's a couple of approaches in there to put together surveys, and they're really being tailored around the kind of approaches that work really well in universities and colleges. So hopefully that will be useful for you when you're actually going out and starting to do things. And also communication as well is the last part of that section. So that just looks at the best approaches and summarises how you may put together a communications plan to make sure that people really know about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and why it matters to everybody. So part 2, practical management. So they're the habitats there that were considered to be most relevant to universities and colleges, the ones that occur most throughout our campuses. So starts off with principles. So general habitat and wildlife management principles. So you don't rush out and start chopping down various different things and realise then, oops, they're actually a part of a valued habitat. So before people rush in and do things, it's just giving you some really good advice and tips on how to do that and actually make it really beneficial for for biodiversity. And then a whole range of different habitats that you can get going on improving, and lots of tips to make a difference and to improve biodiversity in all these areas. Next steps and further information. Here you'll find all the legal guidance. So when you're putting together any legal registers, or if you're interested in any legislation that really has a direct implications at universities and colleges, this will help you identify what legal requirements are appropriate to you and your organisation. Further information, loads of signposts to lots of different organisations, and also sources of funding as well. So just briefly, just to tell you how NetSustain, how we can help you with biodiversity. So for the conference today, there's just an offer that I wanted to give to you, and it's half-price consultancy for biodiversity. So there's a whole range of things that this could be used for. Opportunities reviews, really looking at what is most important to your organisation, how can you really benefit from biodiversity, how can it benefit staff, students, and how can it save money as well. Policy, strategy and mobilisation can help come and really work with you to get biodiversity initiatives going on your campus, at your university, undertake habitat management surveys, management plans, and also can help you with any grounds maintenance contracts and embedding biodiversity specifications within that. And this afternoon we're going to be talking about where next for biodiversity and the Biodiversity Guide. So it will be your chance to have some input into what areas you think needs to have more focus, what areas you think need to be developed, and have a lot of feedback. It will be a very kind of active workshop session. So I hope that you'll join me this afternoon for that. And I think we have a little bit of time for questions now. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much.